So welcome to a new year and a new block of classes coming your way. I hope you're all well. As you can see, we are celebrating 12 years of MelPilates this week. And so here is your first session of the block. Bring yourself to lay down on your back. Let's check in. So it's been a while. Hoping that you're all well and comfortable as you're coming to settle down on your back. Absolutely, we're going to begin with an opening task of awareness. So checking in with how we're landing on the mat, noticing how our bony landmarks are presenting. What does the ground tell you in terms of where you feel most supported? And really continuing to fidget and bring awareness to your body parts resting down on the floor. Now you could do this with or without your cushion to begin with. Perhaps try both. And just give yourself time to settle. And then based on what you learn about how you're presenting in this moment, you're going to look at connecting with the floor with as little or none support through the back of the head. So how does it feel to remove what you have, or maybe you simply downgrade on the amount of cushioning you have back there? If you feel particularly open between the chin and the chest, there's lots of space here. Perhaps you even gauge that via your eye line. You're looking up and back behind you. Definitely bring something in towards the back of the head there, just to help feel not fully closed through the front, but like you have some space, but it's space with ease. And then when you're ready to, stand down into your feet. Feel the length of the foot, the arch spread over the pelvis, and begin to tilt the pelvis back towards the rib cage. Notice that the hips will naturally begin to lift with a sense of moving from the sacrum bone here towards the back of the body. As you sigh, you'll start the return naturally of the body towards the mat. Sense the widening through the base of the pelvis. Land, notice, and go again. So feet pushing down into the floor. Noticing how the pelvis becomes keen to hover at that point. And then there is that sense of separation through the segments of the spine. Stay in the legs as you breathe out. Notice the rib cage especially softening there as the air moves out of the body for you to land and go again. So how is it? What do you notice? Any strong bias between each foot, each leg? What's that telling the pelvis as you're moving? Really with as little effort as possible. We are really understated here. But we are really tuning into how this initial movement is feeling. Arms are relaxed beside you. Maybe you notice a change through the back of the neck, through the middle spine, through the pelvis itself as it lands. And take a handful more of these, just feeling and finding your way, again with that sense of articulation through the spinal segments. The slower you go, the more chance you have of really picking up on parts of you that perhaps don't move so freely, giving them a chance to do so, hence why you're looking to stay in your legs. Sacrum drives the movement upwards. Rib cage remains as easy and integrated into the torso and the pelvis as it can. And we land. So we're just picking up on how that was. Feet are going to come together. Get a sense of your big toe knuckles next to each other, or the insides of the feet. Maybe it's the ankle bones next to each other. So you have this unity suddenly of the feet, which of course is then going to create some unity through the whole lower part of the body. We're heading into side to side. You might have noticed arms have moved away from the body. It's just really a case of giving yourself some room, not feeling like you're so tight and enclosed. And you've got some choices here to make. How does it feel for you to think about the pelvis driving the movement? So just noticing each time the pelvis returns, passing through the center, if it continues to rock east or west, what happens to everything else there that's connected below it? The other thing you could do, and it is quite different to start to feel a little bit more sensory through the feet in this way, is just notice how the feet reconnect with the floor and then peel away again. And so you've got the sense of connecting the feet across the mat. And of course, that's going to be the outer edge of one of your feet, coming towards the whole of the foot, inner edge, whereby you then pick up the inner edge of the opposite foot peeling away, and you're now on the edge of the other foot. So how would it feel to take the movement via the feet? Do you suddenly notice the warmth of them? Maybe as you have this kind of movement relative to inverting, everting down there, what do you notice about the width of the forefoot and its ability to seemingly peel away across the mat? Knees will stay together the whole time. This movement is going to bring you onto your side, whereby you'll start to set up for your book openings. And with the book openings, you want something underneath the side of the head, just particularly to bring the neck and the head into line with the rest of the body. You could, of course, do without. Depends on how it feels through the outside of the underneath shoulder. But again, find yourself here with or without your cushion, of noticing how it feels without, how it feels with, of notice with how you are in a straighter line. And then when you're ready, opening your top arm, following it towards the ceiling there, and then really looking at the collarbone extending outwards and away to the wall behind you. before you bring yourself back into your closed position. Head is heavy. Softer cushioning might help there. Maybe a towel, if what you would ordinarily use to prop the head up is a little bit firmer. And just like the side to side movement, you're really looking at keeping your knees together still. So how does that feel to suddenly focus on the lower half of the body this time, being still, while the upper half of the body is the rotating part. When you're closed from this next one, you can pause for that side and roll yourself over to your second side to go again. Get comfortable. Give yourself time there. Moving from the top of the body here. Maybe you notice your head. Maybe you're really considering the hands to the ceiling. Feels a little bit more like it's arm driven initially. It would be a breath out. Have the width across the chest as the heavy arm falls back and away from you. And really the destination of the lower arm and the hand really comes off the back of the give you're creating through the chest. So can the chest widen, heaviness through the shoulder blade and the back ribs coming down towards the floor. Feel free to continue for some more here on this side. Otherwise, when you close again there, you can pause. Any head cushions can come away. And you're going to bring yourself back onto your back. So a good moment here, sort of finding ourselves to fidget once more and really understand that we might need to check in. Are you straight? Did you land back in a straight line? No, it's not going to feel the same. There's going to be differences that you sense now back on your back, having done those very subtle, small, slow movements. You're going to feel different. So give yourself some time to acknowledge all of that. And then the feet can come together once you've checked your organisation. Toes apart, heels into line, just bringing you back into a narrow parallel. How is it? Interlace the fingers and take those behind the head resting down into the cupped hands. Really feeling connected and fully supported by the arrangement of the shoulder blades and the elbows. As you take your breath out, notice how the upper chest softens, the back ribs falling backwards. Encourage them to push into the mat in order to bring the face forward, and then as you breathe in, unravel to lay yourself back down again. So we have an exhale here, which is really going to facilitate once more that idea of moving segmentally. If as you lay down, you feel like you could do with taking on board a little bit more air, pause, take a bigger breath in with your head on the floor. Maybe you lose a little bit of the flow, the continuous movement, but perhaps that's what's required in order to give you a sense of a fuller inhalation to create a longer exhalation. This is going to turn into a little bit of crisscross. Same thing, same options. You're heading forwards, adding in some rotation, bringing yourself back to center, and then unraveling. Exhaling to bring yourself up and rotating there. Inhaling to center yourself and unravel. Last one here. If you can, up one more time and reach the arms long and away from you. You're going to make contact with the legs, holding on to them, and use them. So if you find that your curl up today is a little low, use the arms just to generate a little bit more height. There's always a sense that the front body is dropping down, down and back still. But perhaps that feels like it gives you a little bit more support there. Now you're really utilising the arms. Bring the feet towards you and allow the shins to lighten and lift. You're still using your arms. Maybe they've had to bend a little more now just to bring you into this shape. From here, you'll take a wide breath in. Then as you breathe out, send the thighs into the hands. Forward you go to bring yourself up into seated. Of course, you could come up into seated in a different way if you felt like you needed to. We're heading into our assisted roll up and roll down, whereby we will repeat legs going forwards into the hands, sitting tall. Feet here, we've already been sensory with the width of them. Could we use the full width of them as we push the mat forwards and away from us to bring us onto our backs? Exhaling, legs, feet dipping downwards to roll and sit tall. Send the mat away from you. Maybe you need bare feet there for a little bit more leverage onto your back. Legs into the hands, arms supportive once more, toes dipping downwards. How's the journey? Are you managing to move straight down the centre? What do you notice? Head back to what you may have discovered about your bridging movement today. Any bias? One leg working a little more than the other. If you roll down this time and stay up, we're going to head into 100. Now, as most occasions when we take this transition, you might notice that you feel a little higher than a chest lift. You are going to drop down, fidget as you do so, sort of find the boniness of the lower ribs. Can they come down onto the floor? It's really the shoulder blades that are up now, standing on the shelf of your mat. Knees and feet can be together. You could have extended your legs up and away from you if you want to. Inhaling for 5 and exhaling for 5. Straight legs here can offer a sense of a counterbalance, sort of helping you stay wrapped with the shoulder blades on the ribs, reaching the fingers forwards and away. And if your knees are bent, remember we're heading roughly in that middle of your thigh bone zone. In for 5. As much calmness as you can create through the upper body. And if at any time you need to lay the head down, keep pumping the arms, keep going with the breath work so you're still generating some heat. Last 10 here. Knees drawn into the chest, hold on to them if you want to. Head goes down, And then the feet, they'll come separately down onto the mat. From there, we're going to head onto our side, and we're going to look at coming into a seated position and moving into Mermaid. So if you wanted to, with your Mermaid, you could be adding in your blocks, maybe cushions, if that's what you have accessible to you at this moment. And find yourself in a Z-sit. So how does that feel? Notice the sit bones. Also, as well as the right to left sit bone position, notice whether you're on the front of the sit bones or on the back of them. Can you find a happy medium there where you feel like there's ease? So we're not looking to create just on the forward part of the bone or just on the back. Something that feels like we have some balance down there with our choice. And then when you're ready, if you're mirroring, you're going to lift the right arm, reaching it up and away from you to take you up and over to the left to begin with. Taking a breath in when you're here. And as you breathe out, bringing yourself back to your starting position. Take a breath in. Breathing out to bend. Inhaling. And exhaling. Staying lifted, staying centered. Pausing when you're up and then switching legs. Settle in. You take your breath in. And last one. And relaxing down there. Take any blocks or cushions away and bring yourself back down onto your back. Initially, we're going to do some single leg bridging here, perhaps with an opportunity for some of you to prop the pelvis up. Maybe you use a prop for that point or use the hands, and we'll come into your shoulder bridge as well. So we start with dead bugs, standing down into one of your feet, and this will be repetitive to float one of your legs to return the leg back down towards the mat. Standing down. Of course, as you stand down into the floor, you will sense that the other foot feels light enough to lift. Is it possible, though, to strive for a feeling of staying quite centered through the pelvis? As the leg lifts this next time, pause where you are. And here we head into single leg bridging. So standing down into the foot, tilting the pelvis, reaching the knee long and away from you. And then exhaling to bring yourself back down to your starting position. And down with the foot. Same approach as our initial bridging movement. Exhaling up at the top next. You have an option to place some cushions. Maybe you have a foam roller at home, or as I said, a ball under here. Or the hands coming in and under also might help. Extend the leg up towards the ceiling. Flex the ankle to lower the leg down, staying in line with the other thigh bone. Pointing the foot and carrying the leg back up towards the ceiling. Heel long, reaching and away from you there. Toe pointing to kick back up towards the ceiling. Flexing and reaching. Pointing and kicking. Last one here. Pelvis is heavy, resting in the hands. Hands are here to support. Bend your knee. You can return the foot to the mat. Check in there if you need to. And then of course release the hands. Bring yourself all the way down. If you wanted to join the feet together briefly and then take the toes apart, heels into line, you could do. We start the sequence again on the second side. So down with one of your feet, remember, just to come into a handful of these dead bugs here. Leg returns. Down to come up. Our aim remains the same in terms of position of the pelvis. How is that? Last one. And then holding here, single leg bridging. Pushing down with one of the feet to hover, tilting. If you reach the knee long and away from you. Exhaling to bring yourself back down. The thigh bone in the air is going to change its angle. As the pelvis tilts, the thigh bone will then appear to move closer towards the chest. And next time you're up, choosing whether to prop yourself up here or to use the hands. The hands come under. Elbows could be narrower if you felt you had some more height of the pelvis available to you. And then heel lowers down, big toe side of the foot on the floor, heel. And once you're up there, bending your knee, bring your foot back down again, wriggling around. Feels roughly balanced there with both feet back down on the floor, and then softening through the body and returning yourself all the way down onto your mat. We're going to head into roll up from here. If you wanted to, you could bring the legs up into the air and take an assisted roll up, or your other option is to slide the legs long and away from you. Take one arm arc, arcing the arms upwards and backwards here, and then carry the arms to the ceiling, lower your gaze, backwards with the ribs to bring yourself all the way up. Once you're up, we're going to head into our roll up and roll down sequence with a band. So taking your band around the feet, it's going to go. You could use a little cushion in the lower back as well. Soft knees, always an option as you start this off. Bringing you again much more to the center of the sit bones as a starting place. Tilt the pelvis back towards the rib cage. Think bridging here as your approach. Once you've landed, arms come to rest beside you. As you breathe out, lower your gaze. Send the low back ribs back. Similar idea to finding that curved shape. Prior to our 100, there's a sense of front body heavy, dropping down and back. Much easier to sense on the way down here. Can it also apply that as you lower your gaze, the front of the body is happy to stay heavy, whilst the back of the body is really sort of turning like a tire wheel into the ground to bring you all the way back up again. Center of the body falls backwards. Center of the body still falls backwards. We'll take one more of these. When you're up, take your band away. We're taking one more roll down to bring us all the way down. Arms can come out in front of you. And as you land from this one, the arms can relax down beside you. So here we are, heading into climb a tree. Take one of your legs up towards the ceiling there. And when you're ready, take a chest lift, walking up the back of the leg. How high can you reach there? That sense still that the front of the body is falling backwards. Back ribs are opening in order for you to come up. Now the leg that you're holding is going to push forwards into the hands again. Think assisted roll up. You might get a sense that the bottom leg's already starting to feel lighter. Relax off of that grip of the leg you're holding and lay yourself down. Same thing on the other side. Leg goes up to the air. Could be bent, doesn't have to be straight here. Take a chest lift. Start to walk up the back of the leg. Back of the leg is pushing forwards into the hands. And just notice how that enables a little bit more height. Front body is still falling down and back. Does this leg feel light enough to lift already? If it's lifting, that is fine. And then carefully letting go of the top leg, slowly does it to lower the leg down. This next time, leg is lifting. We're walking up the back of the leg. I'm going to find as high as we can reach, as close up towards the calf maybe. Maybe you're getting towards the ankle. Pushing the leg forwards again. Other leg is now definitely going to lift. And you're going to look to maintain the height really of your chest lift essentially and switch the legs. Now stay narrow, really in your narrow train track as you're switching, and utilize the leg as it leaves you. Maybe you notice you drop a little in height, push the leg away from you. Could it help you stay up that little bit more? This is our last one. We're going to stay up and hold onto the back of the legs. Again, use your arms. Maybe you're higher. And then as you breathe out, legs will roll forwards, feet will drop down, and that's you heading back up to your starting position. Now from here, you're going to spin round and come to lay down on your front. And we're going to look at our first extension movements. So legs have maybe walked away from the pelvis there. Forehead is at its hover. And then taking a breath in. Chest widens. Now whilst the head is moving upwards slowly, really hold back on it. Whilst the collarbones and the shoulder blades do their thing. If it feels good and you'd like to utilize a little more of the spine, feel free to continue. Can you maintain the same organization through the upper body, but simply straighten the arms a little more by pushing the floor away with the heels of the hands. Last one. And as you arrive back down there, push yourself up into a child's pose or a curved shape of the spine of your choice, depending on how it feels to be here. And then take your time, spend longer down there if you want to, whichever shape you've got into. Hugely beneficial to find something and really breathe into the back ribs wherever you are. But once you've unraveled, we're going to head up into an upright position. So coming up to stand again, however you feel comfortable to do so. Find yourself towards the back of your mat. We'll start a little bit of a rolling down sequence. And so when you're ready, lowering your gaze. Sense again that feeling of curve through the back of the body. The idea that every section gets its turn. The lower you come down, you're also noticing there's a transference of weight towards the balls of the feet. And then as you breathe out, a sense of lifting the back of the body upwards to bring you all the way back up to your starting position. Lowering the gaze. And as you transfer towards the balls of the feet, perhaps you want to soften the knees there too. Slight change of the lengthening through the back of the body. Options to walk out into your plank position. You're finding that use of toes, sending the floor away. Sacrum is still driving like it would in bridging, and of course its direction is different here. And then sending the heels backwards and downwards. As you walk back to your feet, angling down there. And as you breathe out, lifting upwards through the back of the body, unraveling to bring yourself all the way up to stand. Feel free to take a few more of those, rolling down, walking out. Finding a sense of yourself in the plank position, ribs and pelvis integrated, sending the floor away. And as you find yourself restacked, ribs on top of pelvis, head on top of ribs, you can pause, Well done, everyone. Take care.